So this is good. This drill, we're going to use it in a variety of places. So this first section for luring, right? We're talking about having the dog pushing my hand and following my hand. This is just to make you aware of your body. Like, because obviously my hand could go anywhere and the dog could follow it. My dog can learn to lure without me going in straight lines, without me standing on the right foot, without any of that stuff, right? But I want you to think like, hey, if I reach out with my hand, what does my hand naturally do? Does it turn this way? Does it turn this way? What does it do, right? And this forces you to focus. Like, so you'll see people walking along and they're like this. Their hands all over the place, right? The dog's like, So if I were trying to create a behavior, that would affect where the dog wound up, whether they were straight or not straight. And there are certain circumstances where it won't matter at all. And there are other circumstances where it'll really matter. And if you're not kind of aware of what you do with your body and how you naturally move your body, you can't make adjustments to them. So this is just sort of call your attention to how you move your body. It's also to force you to use your legs so you don't hurt yourself, right? So as you go forward and start to do things with a dog in the picture, and maybe you speed up a little bit and you do some kind of quick movements, if you bend and twist the wrong way, if you're not using your legs enough, you'll hurt your back, you'll hurt your knees. You can roll. I had somebody doing this drill break an ankle. So there you go. They went too fast, they went like this and stepped and caught the side of a running shoe like that and rolled their ankle over and broke their ankle, right? But if you step like this, you won't break your ankle. If you point your toe the direction you're going, it's heel to toe stuff. You're not going to twist your ankle, right? And so there's some little things when we're moving quickly with a dog. I go, yes, and I go like this and make a quick motion. If I go like this and step this way, I'm more likely to catch the side of my foot and roll my ankle. If I point my toe that way quickly, I'm safe, that kind of thing. And I'm bending my knees, so I use my legs more than my back, all those kinds of things. So there are habits learned here that will carry over. The other thing about this drill is later on, we won't do it in this class, but later on, we speed this up, right? There's two games that we play that look sort of similar. The first is luring, where the dog is actually on my hand and I'm moving the dog around. The second is a dynamic food game we call food chase. And that's where I hold food in my hand and I run and the dog chases me. They're not on my hand, they're chasing it down from behind. And I imagine that the piece of food in your hand was a toy. My dog's there and I go, yes, and I take off running like this. Dog comes and grabs the food out of my hand. Yes, and I take off running like this. Boom, they grab it. Boom, right? And I'll go really fast back and forth. Dog's chasing me, gets it, chasing me, gets it, chasing me, gets it, right? And I'll go like that, and now the food is like a toy. And so there's a game we play as our training gets more advanced to kind of dynamically use food if we want to. And if you can't be body aware, the habits we learn here are really important when you speed up, because that's definitely where you're going to hurt yourself if you don't, right? The other thing is it transfers to play. So if I start playing tug of war with a dog, there's a very important skill that dogs learn when they're playing tug of war, which is called targeting. And that's where they bite the toy and not you, right? They have to learn to grab the object and not nail you. And that's a skill that's taught. And if I don't move in a predictable way, I'm going to get bit a lot. Not because the dog's trying to bite me, but because I don't move in a predictable way. So if I take a toy and I go to move the toy and the dog's coming and I slide the toy, I go like this and I hook it, the dog will cut in because the toy's moving sideways. So they cut in. And if I do that repeatedly, the dog cuts in and gets my hands or my fingers, right? And it's because I presented the toy incorrectly, right? That kind of thing happens all the time. If I have a toy in my hand and I go to give it to the dog and I go, yes, and I slide the toy sideways to get it out from in front of my body, it's moving and the dog goes for it. And by the time it gets there, my hand is where the toy was and I get chomped on, right? So when I start playing with the dogs, learning to keep a clear, straight target is useful. And here I am. That's how I know if I'm going straight. If I have a toy in my hand and I'm running like this, here comes the dog, boom, the dog grabs that toy and I keep that nice and straight. And so the habits that we learn here can carry over to a variety of different activities. So this seems like overkill to a lot of people, like, holy crap, you have to do this exercise drill to learn how to lure. It, not necessary for luring, helps draw attention to how you move your body in luring. And then the habits you learn here about bending your knees, pointing your feet, turning your hands, whether you're going straight or not, all those things carry over to a whole bunch of physical activities that we'll do with dogs later on, right? And body awareness is a huge part of dog training, right? You don't realize it. People think like, I'm focused on the dog, but if you have to know what you're doing, you have to know what your habits are. Do you use one hand all the time? Do you turn your wrist? Do you turn your head away at the times when a dog's coming? What do you do routinely? And so just anything that draws your attention to the activity itself, the better off you're going to be, right? And so this is one of those possible drills.